Welcome to the Elite Podcast, where we discuss business, family, and life. Now, welcome to your hosts, Mr. H. Rod himself, Henry Rodriguez, and Ryan Arditty, the SCV MVP.
All right, podcast world, there's your favorite insurance guy, Henry Rodriguez, here again with my co-host,
Ryan Arditty, the SCV MVP.
Diddy. Episode 7, baby.
I can't believe it.
Hey, and we have some stories to share.
Isn't 7 a lucky number?
It is.
Hey.
Right, for most people it is.
I feel lucky.
Lucky number 7.
I feel good.
Do I look a little tanner than
You
normal?
look great.
I just got back from Cabo.
I just shaved, so I probably look making you look a lot tanner right now.
What do you think about the new furniture?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah?
Who did we hire to do this?
All the new layout?
It's pretty
good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's really good.
I'm the center of attention now.
For the first time ever.
Finally.
But Cabo was an experience.
Yeah, how was that, actually?
I heard that you heard some things about Cabo.
I never knew voices sweat and dance. Did you know that?
The voice is actually a really good dancer.
I'm not going to lie. I was impressed.
You should have seen. It was hot. It was muggy. And the voice just turned it all the way up.
The voice train, kind of like Soul Train. It's the voice train.
Voice. Let's bring you into this podcast.
I'm good.
No comment?
We'll get to me later.
He's actually dancing as we speak.
Cabo was a great experience. Shout out to Rachel Cleveland. It was her wedding. It was an honor to be there. We had all the good times. It was super hot. Again, it was extremely humid. But you know what? With the right people, it's always a good time.
Should I be butthurt? I was not invited?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's all good, though.
Congrats, Rachel. Congrats.
A few other things that I wanted to share is that I'm actually going to be insuring in other states now.
Wait,
not
hold
just
on.
California.
Hold on. Should we have a show about this?
Yeah, that should be its own separate segment. But not to go into too much detail, but starting August 1st, Oregon and Arizona will be under our belt. So we'll be insuring in California, Oregon, and Arizona again. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
And there's people moving there, so I think that's definitely an opportunity for you for sure.
I had to capitalize on that opportunity.
Do you think California's coming back eventually?
I think eventually.
Yeah.
Like I said in a previous episode, I truly believe it has to get worse before it gets any better. But like we've mentioned in the past, hard pivots. So one of my hard pivots is looking into other opportunities in other states. So Oregon and Arizona is it August 1st.
I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll add Texas too eventually.
Maybe, yeah,
right?
eventually,
Yeah.
absolutely. Another hot topic right now, dude. What do you think about Lionel Messi coming
that's
to the
hype.
MLS?
I'm hype. I'm not gonna lie. I just started to get into soccer, and I swear, did we see him at Vallarta recently? Where was he?
There was a viral picture going around that he was at a store that looked similar to a Vallarta. He did. No one in the States recognized who he was.
That's crazy.
He's an international icon, superstar, and at this, it looked like it was at a local grocery store in Miami. No one recognized him, which I thought was.
You know what I like about him? He's super humble, right?
Oh.
I mean, the guy's just with his family, pushing a cart, hanging out.
I mean, he's only making $50 to $65 million a year.
Yeah.
So
That's a pay cut from what he was receiving, though. Right?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of other endorsements. He's probably part owner of the team. He has officially put the MLS on the map, and I'm super duper excited to see him eventually play. I mean, how cool would it seem to have him come out to LA and play either LAFC or Galaxy versus? I mean, I don't even know the name of the team in Miami. I'm just gonna call them the Lionel Messis.
I saw something. It's gonna say MLS before Messi and MLS after Messi. He's definitely gonna be a pivotal point.
Absolute game changer.
MLS. So
All
we'll see.
Lionel Messi. One of these days, we'll have you on our podcast.
We get Messi.
That'll put us on the map for sure, right?
We'll be okay. We'll be okay.
That'd be awesome. But you know what? Without further ado, I'm super excited to bring on our guest for the podcast, episode 7. None other than, drumroll please, Mr. David Rendall.
Woo!
Dave, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, sir.
Tell
Good to
us a
see you
little bit
guys.
about yourself.
A little bit about myself. I turned 50 last year, so I'm 50 years old on
Wow.
Yes, sir.
You look younger than the
Looking
voice.
good.
I was going to say I've got a face for radio, so I'm going to switch seats with the voice over there. Tell me, so I'm a broker attorney by trade.
Yeah.
And I'm the broker of, obviously, the RE/MAX out here.
Yes.
And I've been in real estate for about 22 years. And love the industry and have great friends like you guys, and it's all about the relationship.
And you're looking great, brother.
Look at him.
Feeling good.
You've lost some weight.
A little bit.
Turning 50.
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost?
12 pounds.
And how'd you do it?
Just simple habit changes, like
Okay.
everything.
Creating habits, I like it.
Self-care, trying to put that first and be healthy, deal with lower blood pressure. Because if you don't have your health, you can't do all the other things.
Yeah, health is wealth, right?
That makes sense. Cut out the bread, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important.
Keto works, yeah.
Little
Low
intermittent
carb.
fasting,
Yeah.
little all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
How's the alcohol? No alcohol now?
I haven't had any for 45 days or so.
How do you feel?
But I feel great. But I'm traveling this weekend, so I'm definitely going to have a drink or a glass of wine, something
Okay.
like that. But
Very-
everything in moderation.
I feel like the busier I get in this business, the more I drink. Is this true?
Easy to do.
Easy to
Yeah.
do, right?
Easy to
Yeah,
do.
right.
So
And we've
any-
been hanging out at the Junction a lot too.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
I love that place.
You should drink.
Kudos on that, man.
Yeah,
Dave,
no,
did you hear what
kudos
Dave
on
just said? You should be drinking
you
them.
should be drinking that.
Old fashions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, you touched already on one of the questions that I had set up for you, which was you're an attorney by trade.
Right.
What made you decide to switch career paths in different industries, and then how do you marry both of them?
Yeah, great question. We could go an hour on it. But so I went to UCLA as an undergrad, and I thought, hey, I'm going to go into law school at some point. Ended up, I took the CBS and taught Nelly Unified for a couple of years, waited tables, did a million different things, and then went back to law school. So I went back to law school as a night division. It was at Loyola Law School. And my buddy, Mike Rezzo, who's with Remax and an investment partner of mine in many, many things, was doing very well in real estate and had worked with Lou Fricke and was doing exceptionally well. And I thought, hey, I love real estate. I'm enjoying law school. Not sure if I'm going to work for a big law firm or what I want to do. And so I actually got licensed to sell real estate while I was in law school.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Overachiever.
I know, man.
You know what's funny? In one of our early episodes, I mean, we only have 7, but so back in the day,
7's lucky.
Troy Uden, voice and correct me, didn't Troy Uden also go to law school and switch career paths?
Yeah.
So, Dave, you're our second guest on our podcast that had originally chosen the law path and now and switch gears.
So in my class in law school, since it was evening division, we had doctors that were becoming lawyers. We had engineers that were becoming lawyers. So it was a huge kind of transition. So it was a fun group of people. It was about 100 of us.
Okay.
78 of us, I think, graduated. I still keep in touch with a group of them. So I took a class in law school, and it was kind of a marketing, business-oriented type class. And I always thought, hey, I love real estate. I want to do a combination. I want to have a law practice. I want to have a real estate brokerage. I might want to get into property management. I created this concept called the Legacy Group, which is funny. It didn't really transpire. I do have an entity that has legacy in it, but ended up I got into real estate, loved it, became in-house counsel for John and Alice O'Hare. I was running a sales team, was running Group 1 Legal on the legal side, and then finally got in a position whereby I came to them first talking about some form of partnership, and they said, hey, we're probably at a stage in our careers that we're looking to retire. Would you be interested? And so that took about a year and a half of negotiations, and then there was the purchase of Remax and Escrow Advantage. So it was just a process. So kind of my original goals from law school came to fruition, but they came to fruition in a different way. And so whenever I business plan with people, I always go back to my 2005 written goals, which is actually 2 years after I graduated from law school. But I tell people, when you draft things, you write goals down, it takes time, and a lot of them will come to fruition, and some of them will come to life in a different way. But as long as you have that down and you're taking daily actions to have that succeed, it will come to that. I never thought I'd be a broker of Remax. I thought I'd have kind of like a boutique type firm and a boutique law firm, but it just went in a different direction.
I met Rendall, I think, in 2005 as you came aboard at Remax.
Yeah.
I worked at Remax. I started at Remax.
That's
I
right.
love Remax. It's kind of how
I graduated high school in 2005, by the way.
I'm almost 50. You're looking young, though, sir.
I'm trying.
You've been, that's such a motivational story, Dave. You had to tackle 2 completely different industries, and you completely married them, and you made it work, and you've made it work ever since.
And I said, it's funny. I talked to people about this, and I did work for some law firms, but I said, boy, I ended up getting lucky a little bit, but obviously I worked hard. But it was an interesting time. So I got licensed in 2001. The market obviously ran all the way up through 2006, and then it had a little bit of wobbling, and then obviously the debacle in 2008. But when I graduated law school and took the bar and passed it, I decided, hey, I don't want to go downtown. I don't want to work for a big firm. I'm going to do some legal work on the side and continue to work on my sales team. Now, in hindsight, I'd say, well, that's a crazy idea. But, ended up with the market turning, it led to some pretty unique relationships. some of which have led to investment partners over the years. And so I did legal work as a landlord. I did evictions during the flip era. We ended up then creating groups ourselves and doing flips. And so Group 1 Legal, although I don't practice and do a lot of billable hours, I still maintain the company. But it kind of led to these interesting components. And without having the law degree or being able to practice, I probably wouldn't have been in-house counsel for John and Alice, which in turn probably wouldn't have given me the opportunity to actually purchase the brokerage. So the education itself, I consider myself a businessman first and foremost. But I loved the legal background and the education, and it definitely opened up doors and created some relationships for me. And now, so I still hold it actively, but I just don't go out and try to pursue, billable type hours.
Well said. I'm super interested to know and understand what it's like to endure passing the bar, or even just taking the exam. I hear it is just
easier said than done, right?
well. Dave,
So it's
what's
changed.
a question on the bar? That's what I want to know. Like, what's a typical
Do
question
you
on the bar?
have 18 hours? So it used to be, it was a 3-day test, 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours. The first 6 hours of the first day was considered essays and library. The second was the multi-state, and then third day was essays. So they kind of set you up to feel like you fail it. It's a real workhorse kind of exam. And
3 days.
It's 3 days.
Wow.
And I had Jacqueline at the time, my daughter, and I remember after the second night, I actually drove home because I just needed a hug, right, and just to decompress. And I think I picked her up and I said, "Oh, your dad is so stupid." and so I got through the third.
Dad's not stupid
Sounds
at
like
all.
me in this real estate market. I need a hug and decompress.
Denny for sure, but Dave, no.
I'm looking for hugs every day.
So what's weird about the bar is at the time, it's probably the same now. You have to wait 4 to 5 months. So you're not hearing, I think, until November whether or not you pass. And if you don't pass, you have to study again and prep for it for the February exam. So when I got the news that I did pass first time, which I was very glad to hear. I didn't want to repeat that. I thought to myself, law school is great. I enjoyed the education. The studying to prep for the bar is a difficult proposition. So when people get into real estate, I always tell them, I say, listen, you take the classes, principles, practices, legal aspects of real estate, and you go set up for the test. If you don't pass, you find out immediately, and then you can go schedule it in 2 weeks. So don't even stress about it, but prep for it and do it and get in the business. So the worst thing about taking the bar was just the time frame of waiting to find out if you pass or not.
Yeah.
I want to say in 2005 when you came aboard Remax, he came in at a perfect time, but I don't think we really knew what was going to happen.
Right.
So many people were doing short sales. So many people were kind of losing their home, and he was a foundation piece that helped people get through that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even myself, my own experience, he helped me, and I'm in real estate, kind of navigate those really hard times. And I was always grateful for you for helping me get through that. It's not easy.
Not easy at all.
Going through that. And I just remember that, what was it, like a year, 2-3 year period where literally, how many short sales did you do in that time?
Yeah, so it was interesting. So I was licensed in 2001. I was at Remax. I left Remax, went to Realty Executives. Then I got involved in a partnership with Carol Westerman on a deal that we were doing with the developer. She wanted me to come back to Remax. I met with John and Alice O'Hare. So I came back to Remax around that time. It was 2004, 2005. When the market started to turn, we ended up doing our first short sale in 2007, I believe. And then my company, Group 1 Legal, we were fairly good at it. Obviously, we had the legal background, but we were dealing with all the loss mitigation, asset managers, et cetera. And
There was so much involved.
We started to get kind of a reputation of doing good work because there was a lot of fraud back then too, where people were trying to short sell their house to their aunt and stay in their house, all really bad stuff. And we said, listen, it's our job.
That's what Ryan tried to do, didn't he?
Wow.
Not at all.
We are live right now.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, we
Off
honestly,
the record.
we honestly got a good name recognition from the banks. We did good work, and so we started doing our own listings, and we were negotiating with Group 1 Legal, and we had a staff of about 3 people. And then other agents would call us to do their short sales. And so I think between 2007, 2011, we probably did about 300 short sales.
A lot.
Yeah. And for our viewers that don't understand, because it's been a while since it's been a short sale market. What's a short sale?
Yeah, so a short sale is when you have monetary encumbrances that exceed, the value of the equity of the property, and so someone is going to have to agree to take less than the actual balance and the default and the delinquencies. And so what would happen is sometimes the first would be in a position to be paid in full, so you're negotiating with the second, and then sometimes it was short all the way to the first, which made it very difficult because the senior position loan was in a very strong position. They'd want to give very little money to the second, and so there was a negotiation of that. And then I could get into like anti-deficiency statutes and how they changed. And at first, when short sales came about, our legal team really had to negotiate the correct language to utilize to protect the individual, because in California, purchase money, deeds of trust are protected as non-recourse, but HELOCs at a certain time were not protected, and so they could go after them. Then the law changed whereby if someone completed a short sale, there was no deficiency issues, and so they couldn't go after them. And so at that point, it kind of got to the level where it got quicker and easier, and the bank said, hey, listen, we would rather do short sales than take this REO, because then they have to deal with the process. So
Now, did your law background help you during the short sale market?
yeah, it definitely helped.
Okay.
But I always say, all of our businesses, yours included, with what's happening in insurance, is always about what's the market giving us, how do we pivot, and how do we decide what door is going to open for us. So at the time, it was, okay, we're going to negotiate short sales, we're going to go get listings, but on top of that, we're doing evictions for people doing flips, and we thought, here's an avenue for us as well. So we formed, the first group we formed was called Group 1 Investments LP, Limited Partnership, and we started doing flips, and I can remember buying the first one. It was a carriage-style Cornerstone. I was nervous at sale, and I was actually down there doing the bidding.
At the courthouse?
Yeah, the courthouse. And then obviously you work with Jeff, and he's done hundreds upon hundreds of them, and he's got a big team in place to
Henry really wants me to be Jeff. So we'll just,
Jeff,
can you call
Jeff,
me Jeff for this next couple minutes?
A huge shout out to Jeff. So we understand just the complexity of it. Every time you open up another door, there's management, there's a team to kind of create behind it. It's not as sexy and easy it is on TV. Yeah. So for Jeff to do it as long as he has, you really have to create a team environment to do that. You don't just have to have the capital, but you have to have the people in place. So he's done a great job at that.
There's so many moving parts.
Absolutely.
So many.
I like what Rendall said just real quick about pivoting.
Yeah.
It's kudos to you, right? Because you started attorney, and then we did the short sale. Then you took over Remax, and now you've just continued to grow and grow. And I think for all of us, we have to learn to pivot. We can't just continuously go that same line.
Right. No, absolutely. You know what? We'll pause there for a second. I would love to hear a few questions from the voice directly to our guest, Mr. Dave Rendall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know this is a little different. Normally we ask questions to everybody, but you're a mentor to so many. I want to make sure that everybody hears your answers on these, because a couple of them are really important, I feel. So first question, share your morning or nightly routine. I know for myself, I'm a morning routine guy. And I know Henry is an evening routine guy. I'm not exactly sure
what Ryan does.
Ryan, yeah.
But an everyday routine guy.
Everyday baby. But I would love to hear if you have a routine for both, or one or the other, and what that entails.
Yeah, so I definitely have OCD. So there's certain things I have to do methodically, and I've dealt with it since I was a kid. So my methodical things in the morning are, for some reason, I always have to do all of my finance and accounting work in the morning. Even websites that I've checked the day before, I check them the following day, because it's just something in my head that I do. So my dogs wake me up at 5:30. I go make coffee. My daughter's in town for the summer. She's doing a summer internship with a good friend of mine who's a developer. And so I make her lunch, and I enjoy doing that. Set before she leaves. Cool. And I get a cup of coffee. I hop on my computer. I do all the basic things. I always remote into my office computer, so I do that as well. Do emails, kind of schedule what I'm doing for the day. I really don't typically make appointments till 10 or 10:30. If I get a text or something's immediate, or I have to deal with our risk manager or something like that, I'll hop on the phone. If not, I will leave that to 10:30 and beyond. And then lately, because trying to work on self-care, I either go to the gym or I have a home gym, and I'll do very specific things for that. And then I shower, and then I go about my day.
Love that.
Powerful morning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You hit all the details that you want to hit.
All those marks for sure.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
I have a quick follow-up question.
Sure.
Have you read Profit First?
No.
Okay. It's a gift from H-Rod.
Okay.
It's coming soon.
Send it.
Oh, because you said the finance portion
Right.
as part of your morning routine.
Yeah.
So
It gives you peace of mind, right, to do the kind of the finances in the morning.
It does. So me on the different things that we do, I always have my spreadsheet. So I keep those on my computer, and I'm always kind of I really look at patterns and things a lot, especially on a financial scale. And I even do it for escrow. I do it for Remax. I look at numbers, and I kind of have an expectation of projections, and I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. So I like to key into that, and it gives me kind of a macro view of things. So I kind of do that on a daily basis for sure.
Yeah, when you say you log into a couple different websites, can you go and tell us what those websites
No, it's just
are?
I have all of my stuff on my header to every account that I have, mortgages, anything. I go through all of it
Every day.
Every day.
WellsFargo.com.
But honestly, it only takes about 45 minutes. So I'm on my main computer, and I do that, and then I go remotely onto my office computer, and that usually takes 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
got it. Very cool.
I need to check out my
I
numbers.
also I also
Me
watch
too.
like CNBC, and I just that kind of
Sure,
stuff. Just get a perspective, like, hey, what's the 10-year doing right now? Okay,
Yeah.
what effect is that going to have on mortgage rates? What's just that macro kind of stuff.
I think a lot of people are afraid to look at their finances in the morning. Right?
Yeah,
So
especially in
maybe that's
today's economy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Maybe
start
that's something
start
some
at
advice.
zero, right? Start at zero.
Let's get one more question, voice.
Yeah. Okay. Name a couple silly mistakes that we should avoid in life.
So there's a great book called The Psychology of Money, and the one point he makes in this book, which is he makes two really great points. So one mistake a lot of people make is their assumptions are too optimistic, and what I mean by that, they don't leave what's called a margin of safety in their investments. So they think everything's going to work out, and you're always going to run into hurdles. You know, I'll give an example like what happened with COVID, like Newhall Crossings, you know, our friend built that, Jason Tollison. He's got a great company called the Serrano Development Group. And to have all of your numbers hit properly, your rent rates be great, and then all of a sudden but you still have COVID that you run into. So what does that do to the retail component of the development? So you have to be very cautious in your assumptions, and so you have to have that kind of margin of safety. The other mistake I think the majority of people make is when you have a great year, like 2021 was a real anomaly year for a lot of agents. And that's wonderful because a lot of people make a lot of money, but you should really look at your cost of living and take a kind of a overview of 5 years. Like, what have you been doing on a 5-year period, and what should your cost of living be like? Because at the end of the day, if you keep your cost of living down, but your trajectory of income increases, you can take that extra money post-tax dollars and you can invest that. So that's key for everyone. That's Dave Ramsey stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
start with budget, figure out how you can have post-tax dollars, and how do you invest in that.
Well, Dave, one thing that I've always loved about you is that the people you really want success for the people around you. When early on in our relationship, you gave me X amount of dollars you said, Henry, save X amount of dollars every single year. And I really took that to heart, and I've done it every single year. This is probably my 6th year of doing that. And it's actually worked out
Congrats.
really, really well. Thank you. I'm going to switch gears real quick. Owning a business in California, being a small business owner, being owner of a brokerage. What is that like in today's economy?
Yeah, it's super challenging. Obviously, we can complain about California taxation on income tax level, feel like there's overregulation. It's difficult. Margin's difficult in California. I think it's a beautiful state. I love it. I think the politics need to change a little bit. Some of the tax things that we deal with, obviously we love the property tax side with Prop 13,
right.
but it's very challenging running profitable businesses. And like I said, there's just a ton of regulation. And so, yeah, it's challenging, but still an amazing state. I love being
it
here,
is.
So.
I will never leave.
Yeah,
Really
it'll be incredibly hard for me to leave for sure. You don't like paying high taxes, Ryan?
I mean, I like what he said. Keep your expenses down. So
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I think
for
that's
sure.
That's
So real
something that's
quick in
huge.
the book, talking about that, so he made a great point. He says too many people move their goalpost, and he meant that from an income standpoint. So him and his wife, the writer of this book, said they kind of kept their cost of living and what they need in their life, that what makes them happy. Like there's jet rich, and then there's wealthy, and there's comfortable, and there's financial freedom, and it can be different from so many people. But the key to it is there's broke people that make $10 million a year, and there's wealthy people that make $500,000 a year, or so it's really what you're doing to create passive income. It's what you're doing to make money while you're sleeping. It's all of those things that are the difference makers.
What's your favorite or best advice that you're giving, potential investors, people who are currently investors, or someone who's just simply looking to save?
Yeah. I say save. I always joke, but I say stack your chips.
Yeah. Is there a certain percentage you're looking
estate.
for? Yeah, buy real estate for sure. But do you certain percentage of income or?
So I do an investment mastermind with about 35 of our agents, and actually ours is tomorrow. Okay. It's the second to last class. It's going to be on adaptive reuse and value add investing. And so what I said to them is, when you start this journey to financial freedom, which I believe anyone can be financially free in about 15 years if they really make the hard choices to do what they need to do. Yeah. I tell all of them, the goal of this class is for you guys to figure out what's your income trajectory, what do you know that you can make, what's unacceptable not to make, and what's your cost of living, and then what do you expect to save on an annual basis. So what I tell agents, the starting point is get your cost of living down to know that post-tax dollars you can save at least $50,000 a year. If you can save 50, even if you don't invest that 50 on year one, you would have 100 in year two. Right. And maybe that's the right time to invest, or maybe it's not. And maybe you wait till year 3 where you have 150. I also tell people, I said, first get into your principal residence and then save money and make sure that the principal residence that you choose isn't your dream home, but it's affordable for you, so your income as it rises, you can continue to save money. Because in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of the key components of that is Robert says, listen, too many people in America feel like their principal residence should be their only investment vehicle. But in actuality, it's not an investment because there's no cash flow.
Correct.
With forced savings, principal reduction, growth and appreciation, it can be a nice equity build. It's like a savings account. Yeah. But it's not an asset that's giving you passive income. So too many people put too much a portion of into the principal. Buy something and get in the real estate market. Always you need to get in the real estate market. Yeah. Have a plan for 3 to 5 years where maybe you convert that first principal into a rental, or you take that equity and move up, right? So your payment's lower on your second. But the goal is to kind of multiply that. So I tell people, get in the principal 2 to 3 years. If you can figure out, buy another rental and rent that as an investment, or which you did on one of yours, right? You kept one of your principals, a milestone, I think it was, right?
Good memory.
Right? Now Toll Brothers, beautiful house, beautiful backyard, gorgeous. So it's just a process. Yeah. Right?
I love it.
Takes time.
I think the voice and I want to go to his class.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
It's at the junction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're a serial entrepreneur, Dave.
Thank you.
For people who have aspirations to either own their own brokerage one day or just to be, self-employed, maybe they own their own restaurants, what's your best advice?
To be an entrepreneur, it's a lifestyle, right? You kind of
not your 9 to 5.
It cannot be 9 to 5. It's that you're always thinking business-minded opportunity. But I would say pick your niches. So the only reason that I'm partnered with Chef in the restaurant is because we bought the building in about 2015. I'd also say invest in paths of growth. Invest in areas where the city or the municipality is putting money and wants to see change. Invest in areas that have a specific plan. These kinds of things. Okay. Get in that path of growth. Invest where big developers are doing big things or big businesses.
Pretty much no Castaic.
I think Castaic long term is a good play. But, so you have to do that. So when we purchased the building, we knew we were going to do a RE/MAX office upstairs. So that was the goal. We had LA County Health, that was one of our tenants, and Workboot Warehouse, who actually owned the building, sold it to us. They moved on Lions, and they were still our tenant for about 6 months. So our goal was to do, because the city wants retail downstairs, they do not want any office downstairs. It has to be upstairs on the second floor. So we started getting LOIs, letter of intents, from different people, gastropubby stuff, kind of like New Oil Refinery, other things. And we didn't love the financials behind them. And we knew it's a first-generation restaurant. There's a lot of TI and capital work that has to go into that, grease interceptor, et cetera. It's not easy to turn a basic space into a restaurant. That's why a lot of people that get into restaurant, they want to do second gen. So they want to take over a restaurant that wasn't there. I had met Chef at a party. I knew that he had run TPC, and I knew he was part of the Culinary Institute, and I knew he had a great name in town. So everything starts with a conversation, right? How I met Jason Tolleson, same way.
Yeah.
Called him up, hey, I'm a broker out here. How can I help you? You know, I think the project that you're going to be working on seems amazing. What can I do to help? And so I called Chef and I said, hey, I've heard amazing things about you. I'd love to have a meeting. I actually saw him at a neighborhood's party. And we ended up just having a meeting. And that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
So all of the restaurant's success goes to Chef and his team. The relationship and the partnership came out of, hey, we have this really great real estate asset in a great area. Why can't we have someone local that's respected do something extremely special and partner with this person? And so that's how that all came about, because I wouldn't generally go, oh, hey, I'm going to go get into hospitality or something like that. So it was really a relationship that was built, and Chef, you know, did everything.
I love that story.
And you guys have really hit a home run. I mean, with the Junction, it is truly a staple of the community now.
Yeah,
it really is.
They do an amazing job.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right. Last question, and we'll wrap up this segment. Another thing that I am, how do I want to say this? Something I look up to as well. Again, you're a mentor to so many people, but I think you would agree your biggest success is with your children. And it's something that I always ask people who I consider successful parents. Both your daughters are now in college.
Right.
What does that look like? What are you teaching them? What are you having them read? What does the morning conversations look like for future successful leaders?
Yeah, so I mean, I appreciate the comment on mentorship. I really love it. I've loved teaching at LA Unify. I love teaching at College of the Canyons. I love being a broker of so many amazing agents. I really liked what The Voice said at one of your last meetings, how he's mentoring someone from a local high school. Like, really, if you can't pay it forward, then what are you doing, right? Yeah. So I think that's really great stuff. Having two daughters to be blessed with, I always say the best title this world gives us is to be a mom or a dad. Yeah. And with that, I wanted them to be very strong, independent women. They're beautiful girls, but I never wanted them to think, well, it's important for me to be beautiful, this or that. I always downplay it, like, yeah, you're beautiful. That doesn't mean anything. Like, hey, what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
Jokingly.
Yeah, sure.
And so they're both hard workers. They did great in school. And I tried to find, what I really tried to do is I traveled with them too. And you're a great traveler. I know with your kids is, if you travel, it gives you perspective on the world, and you learn about other people, and hopefully you're respectful of them.
Yeah, get them outside their bubble, right?
Get them outside their bubble, and realize the world's a beautiful place to explore and to go after, and anything that you want to do is possible. So I wanted them to be independent women that are entrepreneurial. Now, my one daughter wants to be a doctor, which is amazing. Yeah. And she has a passion for that, and it was trying to get them on the right path with the right trajectory. And what I mean by that is, when I grew up, I mean, I'm a Gen X kid, so all the things you see about, hey, come back when the sun's down, and that was it.
Right, when the street lights come on.
Whatever, right? And you know,
pre-Nintendo, right?
And Dad building ramps, and that's not big enough. Let's build a bigger one.
Yeah, those were the days.
It was
like the movie Rad. Remember
right.
Rad?
I mean, it was a great time. But the one thing was interesting. If I said I wanted to do something, my parents were always like, awesome, you can do that. And so they always believed in me. So I believe in my daughters like my parents believed in me. But what I tried to tweak is to say, listen, I had a million jobs. I worked in a factory. I worked at Hughes Markets as a bag boy. I worked as a bellman at a hotel. I waited tables at about 3 or 4 different restaurants. I've done it all. And when you do it all, it's great. It teaches you things. But the one negative is it doesn't get your trajectory going at the right time. In fact, I wasn't licensed to sell real estate until I think I was 29, okay? I think I graduated law school, passed the bar when I was 31. I'm 50 now. So the point is, my daughter's 21. She knows she wants to be a developer. If I can align her with the right people, her trajectory will start sooner. Remember, the compounding effect it's like a hockey stick. Yep. And so if you get started younger, they can do some amazing things sooner. And so my goal is to try to create that for them.
That's great advice.
I love that.
I love it.
All right, Dave, thank you so much for joining on this. That's it, man. That is it. Thank you so much for joining us on this Elite Podcast, Episode 7. Hey, Diddy, sign
That
us
was
off.
legit. Appreciate you. Episode 7. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, we're out, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rendall.
That was fun.